I saw her mugshot recently. One of the most beautiful girls I ever dated, that I fell in love with in school. I saw her mugshot last month, and I'm still thinking about it. She got caught with drugs, and she looked terrible in the photo. And this girl was so beautiful that she looked like a literal angel. Back when I dated her, back when we were in school together, and just seeing where she ended up, it broke my heart. But I'd like to tell you a story about a girl that I fell in love with named Layla when I had first been in high school. My sophomore year, I had art class. I remember I had art class, and this girl had moved to our school named Layla. And I went to school with her sister for most of my life. She had a younger sister that was in my grade. Now, me and her sister never really talked, but I guess her sister had like moved away or something, and like they moved back. So now this blonde girl named Layla, she looked like Bride of Chucky. If that's the best way I can describe how this girl looked. She looked like Bride of Chucky, like legit, like blonde hair, like same style, like little goth, like punk type clothing. Beautiful little round face, little mischievous round, you know, face, blue eyes. She was beautiful, guys. She was absolutely gorgeous, like, and I still think about her a lot, actually. I miss her. But let me tell you how I met her. She was in my art class, and I remember she sat down next to me when she got into the art class. Now, art class was a trip, guys. My entire time through high school, I was in art for 3 years. I had an art class, and that art class was like the most chill class ever. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, it was chill as hell, because we're just like drawing, talking. Everyone in there was like laid back. I got along with everyone in there. We all enjoyed it. And this girl Layla, yeah, she sat next to me, and she was pretty cool, and she liked my art. She was a really good artist as well. Really talented with her pen. She made like amazing drawings, and yeah, she was a very talented artist as well, and I liked that about her, and I thought, wow, this girl's really cool. So I remember, yeah, we also rode the same bus. This was like right before, like I didn't quite have a car yet. I was still in driving school and all that. So I still rode the bus home sometimes. And she happened to live not too far away from where I was living. So we rode the bus together. And, you know, I had started developing a crush on her. Because, dude, she had a banging body, everything, like petite, beautiful, like nice face, like everything, yo. Like, I don't know if I still have a picture somewhere, but yeah, dude, she was something else, man. She was something else. And she told me on the bus that she had a crush on me, dude. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I wasn't even gonna ask her out, man. I wasn't even gonna ask this chick out. I wasn't gonna tell her that I liked her, because I At that time, you know, I had no like self-confidence, right? My self-confidence it started off as a low during that time. Now it picked up. High school was probably like my best years. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, yeah, I'm one of those dudes, like, I fucking peaked in high school type shit. But bro, like, at this time, like, you know, I was like just like starting sophomore year, so my confidence wasn't quite there yet. I was still growing. I was still, you know, I went from a child to like a teenager. So I was like just then becoming like an actual teenager, right? Because my freshman year, I would still consider myself like a child. Like I was 14. So yeah, 14, 15, like come on. But Layla, she was a year older than me. Yeah, she told me she had a crush. And we began talking, right? She drew a portrait of me. She drew a portrait of me, and that was nice. And she just told me, like, I just find you so interesting. I just, like, love talking to you. You're just so interesting. And she asked me out, dude. She asked me if she could be my girlfriend. And I said yes. So before I knew it, I had this beautiful girl on my arm. And I still remember like kissing her at school. Yeah, man, we would hold hands in the art class under the table. I remember I went on a field trip with her. We held hands the whole time. And I really thought, this is gonna sound stupid, but I wanted her bad. And I wanted, look, I know it's like, yeah, it doesn't last forever. Most relationships don't last forever, but truly in my mind at that time, I wanted her. And I wanted to be with her forever. You know, you think about these things like in the future. You start having thoughts about like one day when you have kids and you're married and all this other shit. But this girl had problems. You know, we had a lot of fun. We would walk, we would go to her house, we would kiss each other. And yeah, this girl had some problems though. She had some issues, unfortunately. She came from a real dark like family background where I think there was like a lot of abuse going on. I think her parents like drug addicts. And I didn't know this, but yeah, she had a drug and alcohol problem. So I think she took pills and she would drink. Now, I was also drinking and experimenting with drugs at this time, so I ain't no saint either. I'm not gonna say I was perfect. It took me, literally from that point, this is when I was also dabbling, experimenting with drugs as well at that age. When I had turned 14, I started off early, guys. I smoked weed when I was 14 years old. I started drinking when I was 13 years old. So I was just as bad as her, and she had the same problems that I had. I remember I smoked that fucking synthetic weed, the spice, when I was like 14, when I had just turned 14. And I was fucking tripping, yo. Like, I'm pretty sure I fried my brain a little bit, because I smoked it several times, and yeah, you know, my brain was still developing. I was still basically a child when I did that. But she had the same problems that I had. She had abuse issues. She was abusing drugs, doing drugs. I remember we smoked weed together one time. I wanted to smoke weed with her. And I got way too high. I went to her house. And she lived in like a double wide trailer. Like this girl was not like a rich girl or anything. She was beautiful. But she, her family was just kind of like white trash, if that makes sense, you know? Kind of like mine. My family is white trash too. So we were together like bread and butter. I would go to her little double wide trailer. We would walk around the neighborhood. We would talk. We would kiss each other. Anyways, one night I go over to her place. This is the start. This is the decline of our relationship. Started this night. So she had a cousin that lived with her. This older guy. He was probably like in his late 30s, man, but me, her, and him, we smoked weed, and I smoked way too much. It was his weed, and dude, this weed was way too strong. This was my first bad weed trip, the first of many. Me and weed have always had a toxic relationship. Sometimes I feel great when I would smoke, and half the time, this is the first time that this happened. It became more frequent as I got older. I would have these bad weed trips every now and then where I would smoke way too much and it would make me freak out. Not to where I'm like harming myself or harming others, but to where I would like have like a mental like breakdown almost. Like I couldn't talk, I couldn't barely do anything. I'm just like so high that I just can't, like I'm like stuck in my head. I'm like having like a panic attack basically, like just thinking like all these negative thoughts. And this is the first time I remember, the first time I ever had a bad weed trip was at her place with her. And it was like my fucking brain was like on repeat or some shit. It was like time was like skipping, if that makes sense. If any of you guys have had a weed experience like this, please let me know. But time was like skipping or some shit. And it just sucks, dude. Like, it just didn't feel good. And I remember she was trying to keep me like calm. She was trying to keep me calm. And yo, I fumbled this one, guys. I fumbled here. She asked me if I wanted to like go inside with her, like stay the night. And this is like the height of her attraction to me. I'm pretty sure we would have slept together. And keep in mind, she was super attractive. So, yo, I don't know if I would have like regretted it or if like not regretted it. She would have been like, I never had sex with a girl before. And you know, me being super high in my insecurity, I said no. I could have. Later on, she told me that she would have slept with me that night, which is interesting, but I'm just too high, man. Like, I was just too high. You know, it wasn't fun anymore. So I ended up like kissing her and going home. I walked in the middle of the night all the way back to my house at like 1 a.m. across town. Like, I was like 15, 16, somewhere, Maybe I like just turned 16. I wish I had stayed the night at her place, but instead I chose to walk home in the pitch black out on these fucking country roads. And it was terrifying, guys. It was fucking scary, man. Like, I thought I was gonna get picked up by a cop or something. Like, I was pretty, like, yeah, dude. I don't know, I walked quite a bit. Eventually I snuck back into my house. So the bad trip basically ruined the night for me. And I think her attraction went down after I took off and left. Because she started acting a little bit different. You know, you can tell when your girl kind of like switches up on you a little bit, starts acting a little bit different. Anyways, we're still going out. She starts making like more excuses on like hanging out and shit. I was drinking a lot during this time. I used to text her when I was drunk. Don't ever do this, guys. I think that also like lowered her attraction towards me. This was like the height of like one of the heights of like my drinking. I would drink with my friend Nick. We used to have sleepovers. They were fun as hell, don't get me wrong, but dude, we would get shit-faced. He would steal bottles of rum from his dad. His dad was like a heavy drinker. And he would like siphon off the rum into water bottles. He would go like once a night, pour like a little bit out, until he would fill like a water bottle to the top with rum. Pretty sure I'm getting pulled over right here. Okay. So I got pulled over just now, but let's continue on with the story. So there was little inconsistencies happening. I just got pulled over, so let's continue on with the story. The guy just gave me a warning, so now we're on our way. My friend Nick would smuggle these bottles of rum, and yeah, I would spend the night at his house, and he had like a water bottle filled with rum up to the top, and it just looked like water, right? Because the rum is clear. So his dad and his parents didn't know at all about him sneaking like this alcohol, right? So we would just like drink at his place. I remember I like text her and stuff. I was going to parties. I was hanging out with my badass stepsister who was always going to parties and stuff. I would go with her. So yeah, guys, literally, I remember my girlfriend at the time, Layla, and my stepsister got like, they were like arguing and stuff. My stepsister was saying she was gonna beat her ass. She said she was like a bad influence on me, and they were arguing with each other. So what ended up happening, let's move on. What ended up happening was me and Layla had planned, she called me and she was planning, she was like, we should have sex, right? That we should have sex. And of course I agreed. I'm thinking like, yo, I'm about to get with the girl of my dreams and get intimate with her and like lose my virginity and all this other stuff. And what ended up happening was, we agreed on it. I kept trying to hang out with her, but it just ended up not going through. And then Valentine's Day rolled around. Valentine's Day. And I'll never forget this. On Valentine's Day, I got her like a box of chocolates, a fucking thing of flowers, and I went to go see her. I remember walking all the way to her house and her saying like that she's gonna be there, and she wasn't there. She told me she went to some like family gathering or some shit, or made up some bullshit excuse, I remember. And I don't know, man, it was just one of those things where, you know, I was there, I had the flowers, my friend lived right next to her, Jason, and so I went to like, and she was like, oh, just wait, I'll be back home. And so I went to Jason's house. Jason lived like down the street from her, and I went to his house, and, you know, they kept asking like, oh, when's your girl gonna get back? And like, you know, not in a mean way. And I told him, I was like, I don't know. So Valentine's Day, I fucking didn't even deliver her the flowers or the chocolates. And she just blew me off. Like, she just like fucking ignored me like the whole day, basically. And then after that, she fucking broke up with me. She said we were better off as friends, and yeah, guys, it was rough. Like, it was really rough. I'll never forget that. It was heartbreaking. Shortly after Valentine's Day, you think that this is the girl that you're gonna be with the rest of your life and all this other shit, and she leaves you. And on top of that, she starts dating another guy in my school. Now, nothing against this guy, I never had a problem with him, but I just remember hearing about them like walking around together and shit. Someone told me that they were hanging out and stuff, and then they started going out, and I was just like, what the fuck, dude? So quickly after me and her were together, it just happened so fast. And I don't know, it just sucks, man. Like, I still think about it. And you know what blows? Like, it was before I like discovered like all this like male self-improvement stuff. I tried like hitting her up later on when I was like single again, later on in my life. She had moved, and she would have moved anyways. She moved back up north, so she wasn't even in town anymore. Even if I stuck with her, she would have moved away, which would have been heartbreaking as well. I don't know which is worse, you know, someone you're like in a good relationship with and they move away and you can't be with them, or someone like leaving you for another person. It's both shitty situation. But yeah, guys, me seeing her mugshot, I had her on Facebook after that for many years. This is a long time ago. This was 10 years ago. I met this girl 10 years ago when I was 15. When I was 15 years old. Or 16. I'm 25 now, so 9 or 10 years ago, a decade. It's been a decade since we've been together, and I still think about this chick. Her name was Layla. And she still looks the same. You know what's crazy? Other than the mugshot, the past few years, I saw photos of her. She looks exactly the same. She hasn't aged a bit. She hasn't aged at all. Like, she's always been beautiful, you know? She's always been naturally pretty. And seeing that mugshot about a month ago, she's still, I'm not saying that she was ugly in the mugshot, but she just looked disheveled. She looked like she lost like her soul. Like, she was crying in the mugshot. You could tell that she was crying. Like, she just looked so sad, her little face. And yeah, why should I feel bad for her? Like, fuck her. You know, like, she left me for another guy. And moved away. And we talked here and there in between those 10 years, you know, messaged each other on Facebook a few times. I remember she was like, oh, you should come visit me. And that was like in the works. And then we just kind of, it just kind of broke down after that, you know. It just kind of fell apart. We never ended up meeting again. And then before her mugshot, I heard that she was like, yeah, she was using like fucking speed and meth. Like hard drugs, like real fucking hard drugs. And obviously, like, I'm on a good path right now in my life. If she ended up ever coming back, we would not be on the same level. I'm like, she still hasn't figured it out. Like, she's getting like locked up for possessing drugs. And all that stuff. So she hasn't grown up, and I heard she was with a guy that was like her dad's age, that was like giving her fucking meth before she got locked up. She was dating a fucking dude that was like almost 50 years old, that's been feeding her speed. And it's like, dude, why? Fucking, you were this beautiful, talented. It makes me mad because she's a beautiful, talented, intelligent, interesting, funny girl. I mean, this girl is like absolutely gorgeous. Looks wise, she was the like most beautiful girl I've ever been with, by far. I liked that, I'm just gonna say, I liked that she was blonde like me. You know, I've always been with like Mexican girls. I've always been with Latina girls. I don't know why, but I've always been with them. But every now and then I had a white girlfriend, and she was like the first, like, dude. And I don't, if I had lost my virginity to her, I don't think I would have regretted it, because she was really like pretty. I liked her I loved her at the time. If I would have slept with her like during that time, like when everything was going good, like she was really into me, I was really into her, I don't think I would have regretted it. I would have been happy. If I stayed with her, let's say if we stuck together, what would it have turned into? I'm not sure. I really don't know. It's one of those what ifs. It just never happened. We just never, it didn't last long, but she was one of the ones that left a mark on my soul. Even when I'm an old man, I'm never gonna forget this chick. As stupid as that sounds. And as crazy I'm not gonna like sit here and try to act all alpha male. I wanted her back. Even after what happened, even after, you know, I always thought in my head that one day we would reconnect. I always had this idea in my head that me and this chick were gonna reconnect one day. and that something was going to bring us together somehow. But it just never happened. And like I said, seeing that mugshot, it just shows like how far apart we are in life. Like she never grew up. She never got through that drug struggle. She never got past those pills, or, you know, now that she's doing harder stuff. I would love to have a conversation with her. And when I saw that photo of the mugshot, I didn't think like, oh, fuck her, I'm happy. Oh, look, you know, look, my ex, look, she fucked her life up. I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel that at all. I felt bad for her. I felt sorry for her. I felt pain in my soul when I saw that mugshot. And guess what? It's back in my town. She's back in my town. Like, she moved back. I didn't even know that she was back in my city. This whole time, the past couple years that she's been back over here. And, you know, I had heard that she was like dating that like guy that was like old as fuck. And that was pretty disgusting to hear that. See, I don't even know if she came back today, now in this time, like, I would not say yes. Like, I've grown as a human. I've grown a lot as a person, and we would just be incompatible. Like, I'm sober, she's getting locked up for drugs. Like, it's just one of those things, man. What do you make of that situation? What do you... She's clearly not on a self-development journey like I am, so it would not work. Plus, I have a woman. I have a woman right now, but I'm just saying theoretically that it just wouldn't be a good idea to get with her because of what she's gone, you know, what she's done. I don't know what she's done. If she's with this older guy, like, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna say it like, yeah, she's a 304, like, she's a hoe. So yeah, we're just incompatible at this point. But one of these days I would love to have a conversation with her. I would love to just sit down. And when I saw that mugshot, all I wanted to do was just hug her and say, like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, not even out of like an attraction thing, like just out of like almost a friend thing, like almost like I'm concerned, like I'm just really like what are you doing with your life? Like I said earlier, like, you're this like beautiful, intelligent, talented, like artist girl. You had a great imagination, you know, you were sweet, kind, beautiful, and you're wasting your life. And I just would love to have a conversation with her and ask, like, yo, like, what's holding you back? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, snap some sense in yourself, you know? Like I just feel fucking awful. Like, dude, when I saw that mugshot, like, I'm gonna say it, like, I wanted to cry. Like, I really wanted to cry. It's like, dude, like, what are you doing with your life? It's like seeing one of your old friends get locked up and, you know, like, or dying or some shit. It's like, you just want to you just feel like a horrible darkness inside of your heart. You know, like, you think that this person is out there doing good for themselves, and then, you know, you kind of still care about them a little bit, and then you find out that their whole life is fucked up, and you're just like, and, you know, I'm not gonna sit up here and say, like, oh, I'm an alpha, I don't care about her, fuck her. Like, yeah, you know, still deep within my soul, I have a shred of something where I still care about her a little bit. I enjoyed the time I had with her. I enjoyed the experience. You know, when we were together and things were good, it was good. And It was a high school romance, and it was just like in the movies. You know, you see her in the hall, you kiss her, hold her hand. You're with the beautiful, beautiful blonde girl that everyone wants to get with. You know, y'all get along. And it's almost like a movie, guys. So, that's just my thoughts on it, man. You know, if you guys have had an ex and they screwed their life up, you know, let me know a story down in the comments. Do you have any train wreck disaster stories? You still care about that one girl? Still think about her sometimes? Let me know down in the comments.